Okay, so this is week 1, January 27th to January 31st. I'm working on discourse mapping from Roman 1 this week. So discourse mapping is really just setting up a spatial map, making everything 3D, bringing it from down here to up here, really making things visual and understandable for the client. So I'm going to put in this disc here, Public Schools in Action 6th grade science class. I haven't ever done this one, but hopefully it can make some sense of it. If it loads.
What we're going to do today is, first off, it's unfortunate that we are running behind schedule with the photos for the yearbook pictures or whatever. So we're going to have people. Is there anybody else who's going to have to leave at any point? What picture out? Okay. You sure? All right. Is there anybody else that needs to have to end up leaving? All right, so we're going to basically just have people coming back to class during the course of the day. All right, so let's talk about what we're going to try and get accomplished today. First off, just to give you an update on your quizzes that you took yesterday. Most of the way through them, I have not finished with them, but perhaps tomorrow. If not, you definitely should get them back before Christmas. I'll have early next week. We'll go over them then. All right, it's not as long a quiz as some of the others, so I should be able to get through it pretty quick. All right, looking at them as quickly as I did, just kind of scanning through them and getting through correctly some of them. It looks like most people did pretty well. Looks like most of you understood the experiments that we had done in the last couple of weeks and ended up able to retain that and share, giving you back the information I need. What's up, Alex? Yes. No, yeah, you got partial credit. Okay. I haven't finished your class, so I can't really say overall how the class is done. So far, it looks like they're pretty decent. I would say, at least B range. Most of the papers are still in the B range and stuff. So I mean, it's decent. Like I said, it seems like most people really understood what's going on. All right. Any questions about the quiz from yesterday? Just to quickly finish off on that. Bill? For which one? Well, it depends on the experiment. Some of the experiments needed a lot of equipment, and some of them didn't. For example, the vitamin C experiment did not need a lot of equipment. It basically needed 6 test tubes, 6 eyedroppers, the test tube rack, the 6 juices, and the indophenol, and a ruler. I think that was all the equipment needed for that one. So, but like the nutrient lab needed a lot more than that. It needed a lot more of the different chemicals and stuff. That was for the pepsin lab, the protein digestion. That was the base. Bill? No, that was just a random number of lines that I drew just so that you would have enough space for all the things. Sarah?
What if there's 7 test tubes of everything?
The indophenol was just in a beaker. You didn't. If you. Well, that was really a beaker, not a test tube. But that's all right. If you put down a 7th test tube, I will take off points for it. That's as long as it's explained to me now. That's why you assume that little thing was a test tube. It's really just a beaker. But oh, 7 eye drops. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah. know, it's dependent on what it was, but for the most part, no. I don't really, you know, that. I don't really kill you on spelling, just in certain sections, like fill in the blanks and stuff. No, this test, the spelling didn't really affect you that much. If you have a lot of spelling errors, you may lose a point or two, but not really. Alex?
Did you get the answer on the other part?
Not all of them. I wanted to get the quizzes back before trying to get them both done at the same time. Okay, Sean, last question on this, then we're going to get started. Test is going to end up being Word. I think it's 50 points total. So it's a quiz. All right, well, last one. What are we going to have? I thought I told you guys before. Real quick then, just to review back from the chapter 9 and 15 test. Jeopardy winners were, okay, with 11 points is the Nashira table. Okay, what's that? With 11 extra points for first place. There was a tie for second place, I believe, second and third place, so that the Liz Venezio table and there was a first place, Alex Evans table. That's right, no, that was a tie. 8.5 points. 8.5 points. Derek's table, you guys give it the next position for 7 points of bonus. And then the last teams all tied again for 5.5 extra points for bonus. Okay? That's added on to the chapter. Well, again, it goes on to the chapter 9 and 15 test. Okay, the Jeopardy that we just did for the quiz, I haven't determined the winner yet. I do that after we finish the test. Okay? After I finish correcting. All right. So, what we are going to do today is we're going to start talking about the circulatory system. Now, I told you before, I realized we had a little less than a week of class time left before vacation, and it's really not probably the best time to begin a whole new chapter, but I do want to at least get started in this chapter so we don't fall so far behind for the whole progress of the course of the year. All right, so what we're going to do is you've already started to read into chapter 10, which deals with circulation, right? When I was absent that day with Mr. Sutton. What I'm going to ask you to do right now is take out your notebooks, all right? Don't bother opening up chapter 10 yet. Take out your notebooks, and what we're going to do today is I'd like you to be able to, before we leave here, at least be familiar with what the circulatory system is dealing with. Okay? So, okay, today, of course, is Thursday, the 17th of December, and get that right behind the basket. All right, it's the 17th of December, and today's topic is going to deal with circulation. Now, what I figured I would start with is just to get you a little bit familiar with circulation. Can somebody please raise their hand and tell me what they feel is the main component of our circulatory system? What do they feel is the main component of our circulatory system? All right, Kelly? Okay, it's the heart. All right, and the heart is what kind of organ? Okay, it's an organ of our body. What kind of organ is it? Anybody have any idea? Or maybe I should say, what kind of material is the heart made from? What kind of material is the heart made from? Let's see some hands. What kind of material? Jim. Okay, it's muscle material. Okay, it's made out of muscle. So the heart is one part, it is the main part of our circulatory system. Let me ask a question. How many people here like stuffed animals? Most people like stuffed animals. Okay. Sean, you don't like stuffed animals? Not anymore, but you did it one time. Who's been over to Sean's house? Where are his stuffed animals during the pot? Oh, Sean. Come on. We know. Well, yeah, all right. In any case, I'm always a big fan of stuffed animals myself. Of course, you all know my daughter, Emily, and so one of the things we wanted to do When Emily was born, we wanted to start her off with some stuffed animals. And what we did is we purchased this little guy right here. Now, of course, we all realize that stuffed animals aren't really alive. We like to think they are, and we like to call them our friends, and we tell them our secrets and things. But how many people here think that stuffed animals have a heart, even though they're not alive? Come on. I knew it. That's fine. That's great. Because, stuffed animals, a lot of times, they are your one true friend that you can always trust, because you know they're not going to say anything. Well, this little stuffed animal happens to have a little bit of it's a little bit different than most stuffed animals you're going to find, because this stuffed animal actually does have a heart. And if you listen very carefully, you can actually hear it. Can everyone hear it? This is a very special stuffed animal. It was developed, I don't know, I guess about 5 years ago, and it's been on the market now. It's called the Rockabye Bunny. That's what this one's called. And there's another one called the Rockabye Bear, which is in the shape of a bear. And what this stuffed animal has in it is it has a very special little box in the back with a knob on it. And what you're hearing is the actual sounds that are inside a woman when she's pregnant. In other words, this is what the baby would be hearing. Because the baby's going to hear the noise of its environment. Right? They're not deaf while they're still inside the womb. Right? They can actually hear the sound and pick up the sound. And this is the main sound that they're hearing. And if you notice, what's the prevalent sound that you're hearing? Somebody raise your hand. What's the prevalent sound? Phil? It's the heart. You hear that thumping? And that's the heart. That's that heart pumping away, pumping the blood. And it's not the baby's heart. Okay? It would be the mother's heart. Now you're also hearing some other sounds. You're also hearing some like wave sounds or some fluid sounds. And those are actually the sounds of material passing through and around the baby, either through the umbilical cord or in the fluid around the baby, or even through the mother's other system. Okay, but what I wanted to bring in my Rockabye Bunny cord so you can hear what a heartbeat really sounds like. This is an actual recording of a woman's heartbeat that the baby would be hearing. Alright? And so the heart's a tremendous piece of our body. Alright? It's a tremendously important part of our body. But it's only part of this whole system we call the circulatory system. So listen. The way they got the sound is scientists have all sorts of new technology that they have developed where it has allowed them to even bring in visual images, little tubes with cameras at the end where they can actually see the babies inside the womb. And so likewise they can also bring up tiny little microphones. And so the way that this was done, as far as the literature I've read on it, was that a small microphone was inserted into the woman's birthing canal, okay, up to where the baby would be, and then this recording was made. And what this is, it's not a tape recorder, it's not a tape in there. What it has is, instead it has a computer chip, all right, and you know with computers that there are these materials called microchips that can contain information. Well, what they've done is they've changed the sound on the computer information, they've stored it on this chip, and then they programmed this speaker in there to just keep repeating the same sequence of sounds. And so it repeats that same sound. So there's no tape recorder or anything in there. It's just this microchip that will keep playing the same sound. But it's amazing now the technology they have to be able to see and listen and hear inside the human body. And that's just one of the tools. So that's how as far as I know, that's how they did it. Okay? Other questions, Alex?
Well, Alex said how no one can say that it's not that part.
Well, the baby's alive, it's moving, and literally, physically, the baby is moving around inside the body. And so, if the baby feels like stretching or moving its legs or kicking, the woman's going to feel it. And visibly, right, having just gone through this process, it's amazing. You can literally see, if the woman has her belly exposed, you can literally see her skin move as the baby would kick it or punch it. All right, and because the baby, babies are very strong, even when they are so young. All right, so that's basically what's going on there. All right, any other questions about Rockabye Bunny before we get back into the circulatory system? Yes? Exactly. That's why Rockabye Bunny was developed. Infants have memory, just like we have memory. And for them, that's an incredibly soothing sound. And for the first 2 or 3 months of their lives, they are going to still remember being inside the womb. They're still going to remember that comfortable, safe environment where they were living for 9 months. And they're going to remember that sound. And so, for us, in any case, with Emily, that was an incredibly useful device because there would be times where she would be crying and upset. And we would turn on the Rockabye Bunny and place it near her. And it would calm her down very quickly and start to soothe her. All right, because again, it was that whole idea of the remembering of the comfort and the safety of being inside the womb. All right, but after a period of time, after a couple months, that idea, that comfort is no longer needed. Once the baby feels secure in its environment with its parents, and the fact that it knows that it can feel just as safe and secure being held by the parent in their arms, the bunny is not as effective as it used to be. Okay? So good discussion. All right, so let's talk about the circulatory system. Let's write down some things we know about it then in your notes. Okay, circulatory system. And we've already said so far that the main component of the circulatory system is the heart. Alright, what other parts of the circulatory system do you know about? What other things can we list? Don't open your books yet. Close your books. This is stuff I want to know. This is the preliminary stuff. This is the stuff I want to know that you already know. Things that we don't have to go through. Some of the base information that you should already have. Lauren, what's another part? Artery. Okay, what else? What other parts of our circulatory system do you know about? Melissa? Okay. Blood vessels. I'm going to put blood vessels over here because we're going to talk about that's a kind of a general term. Okay, what other parts do we know about? Becky? Okay. All right, we're going to go with red and white blood cells. I'm going to put this right about here. What else do we know about? What other things do you know about your own circulatory system? You all have one. One more obvious one I would think people would have already come up with. Kelly? Veins, okay, and I'm glad you came up with it because I want to make sure I have everything in. Because veins and arteries are part of blood vessels. What else? Anything else you know? Sean? Blood in general, okay? Again, blood is a general term, so I'm going to put blood over here on this side. Because part of blood is the red and white blood cell. Okay? Is there more to blood? Obviously, but maybe you don't know about those. We'll see if you do or you don't. Sure? Capillaries, that's the third blood vessel. Yeah, that's the third blood vessel. Becky? Okay, now those are true parts of the circulatory system because those are things that are always getting exchanged or changed in the circulatory system. Ray said eggs, it doesn't belong there. Thanks for telling me that. What else, Jim?
That helps carry the blood.
Okay, you're on the right track. You're on the right track. It's not pure water that's the other component of blood. Does anybody know what it is? It happens to be mostly water. This other part of blood happens to be mostly water, but it's not pure water. Does anybody know? Matt? plasma is the thing that Jim was trying to come up with. That is mostly water and protein. Okay, plasma. Yeah. Get my S and my M's mixed up. There we go. Plasma. Anybody know the last part of blood? Should I tell you now, or should I save it for later? Tell us now. All right. The last part of blood is called platelets. TTS. Let me check my spelling again. See, Matt, this is why I don't kill you on spelling. My spelling, of course, you know, is not the best. Not one T. Platelets. P-L-A-T-E-L-E-T. Okay, got it? All right. This is our circulatory system, except for one other thing. One other major component of the circulatory system. Matt? The lungs. Now, see, the lungs are, actually, it's kind of nice that the lungs came at the end, because the lungs really belong to two systems. Okay, they belong to not only the circulatory system, but what's the other system? Respiratory system. All right, so we'll actually begin to talk about the lungs again later on when we end up talking about the respiratory system. Al?
Okay. You know how we like circulation map?
Yeah.
Look, you know how we talk to me? What do you do? You're like squeezing it, trying to circulate, not and then like, what do you also like?
Okay. First off, it's never a good idea to cut off your own circulation on purpose. All right? Because when you are doing that, you are damaging, if not killing, some of your own cells. All right? So I never recommend that you experiment by cutting off your circulation. It's not a good idea. But in any case, if you've ever had it done, or if you've done it in the past, what happens is then when you're cutting off the circulation, the blood is going to start to build up in your veins and your arteries behind them. All right? And what you do is, once you release the pressure, when you're squeezing the vein, all you're basically doing is you're helping push the blood through the tube, that's what the vein is, the tube. And you're just helping basically push the blood through it, helping the flow go along. Okay. Okay, we're going to talk about, now I do want you to open up your books. Okay, and I want you to open up right from the beginning of chapter 10, which is on page, thank you. Well, actually, I want you at 265, 264. 265, 264. All right, now normally I don't have you do much with the introductions. All right, and as a matter of fact, when Mr. Sutton was here, did you read through the introductions or you didn't bother? How many people read the introductions? Okay, only a few of you did. This is kind of nice then. So, what I'd like to do right now is don't read through the introduction yet. Those of you that have read through the introduction, try and hold back a little bit about answering questions for a minute. The rest of you that haven't read the introduction, take a look at the picture on 264. Somebody describe to me what you think has happened here. Somebody who hasn't read the introduction. All right, Bill. Okay, which? Okay, I want to know exactly what you see in the picture. What do you think happened? You're going into a lot of detail. Okay, so you see a boy in the picture, all right, a sled in the background, a fireman, and a diver. Okay, and you see the broken ice, and you see the boy being pulled out of the ice. So you're assuming that the boy was sledding, fell into the ice, right? Okay. Anybody see anything else, or see that and interpreting it any other way? Melissa? Okay, so in Melissa's case, she says that the boy is not breathing in the picture. Okay, it's good. Anybody else interpreting it any other way? Sure. Okay, so that would go along with what Melissa said, the fact that he's not breathing any longer. Matt? Okay, so you're saying he's dead. All right, now the people that have not read, okay, the people that have not read this yet, so there's going to be a majority here. Of the people that have not read it, okay, how many people think the boy is dead in the picture?
It's not that cold out there. The water wouldn't be that cold to keep it like rain and stuff, so we could have done it.
Okay, I'll tell you right now, for those of you that have not read this yet, for those of you that have not read it yet, yes, that boy in the picture right now is dead. But, how many people, again, those people that did not read it, how many people think he stayed dead? Nobody thinks he stayed dead? Okay. Obviously not, because they don't like to put sad stories like this inside the textbooks. Alright, and if you just turn your next page. Alright, you look in the upper left-hand corner of the picture, you see picture 10-1. That's the same boy. Alright, a couple months later, that's the same boy. He did survive, he did live. But let me tell you what happened in the picture. And for those of you that read the introduction already, this is kind of repetitive for you, but for those of you look back at the picture, what really happened is this. The boy was sledding with his father. Alright, they ended up sledding out onto the lake. And the father went to retrieve the sled, and the boy went exploring and fell in the ice. But so did his father. Right, but do you see the father being pulled from the water?
Yes.
Okay, the father was able to stay afloat and yell for help. The boy, on the other hand, was not able to stay afloat and ended up getting trapped underneath the ice. And it took 20 minutes for the rescue crews to come, for somebody to hear his yells for help and to get there. So that boy had been trapped underneath the ice for 20 minutes. Now, how long do people hold their breath? Melissa? You, how long can you hold your breath? 30 seconds. Anybody better that? Bill? 2 minutes. Some people can't hold their breath for almost 2 minutes. All right, takes a lot of relaxation and a lot of concentration. But sometimes people can do that almost 2 minutes.